Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings on YouTube. And well, uh, as far as today's Cricket Happening show is concerned, it's the the fourth One Day International which was played yesterday. And I was telling you yesterday in my preview that Australia, whatever the total, you can give it to them against India, and they are doing it. And today, it was something that Australia definitely went on to a record of getting their 18th consecutive victory at home, and that was against India. And what a match we had! We had a wonderful chase. In fact, yesterday the script was a little different. Stephen Smith, the Australian captain, winning the toss and electing to bat first, and Australia racing a huge score on the board of 348 for 8, and with Finch actually hitting a century, David Warner scoring 93, and it looked that India, under the pressure, would really succumb. But credit to India for a wonderful partnership that happened between Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, which kept the match going, with Shikhar Dhawan making a century, coming into some big form there. Virat Kohli getting into the century mode too. His second consecutive century, like Rohit Sharma in this one-day series. And even that was not enough. After doing that, the turning point of the game was Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the captain, who was in a situation where India were absolutely, I think when Dhoni was at the crease with Kohli, India were absolutely sailing so smoothly, and Dhoni had come at number 4, and Dhoni himself has accepted the responsibility, saying that as a captain, he himself has said that was the turning point. Yes, that was the turning point of the innings, chasing 348. Dhoni was out for a duck of the third ball that he faced from Hastings when he edged it to Matthew Wade, and after that, this Indian innings kept on slipping from a score of 277. Basically, it was a very good partnership. It's a 212 runs partnership between Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, which had taken the score to 277 in the 38th over, and they were well on course to win this match. And look at what happened. Look at the collapse that happened. It was something which very difficult to say, but in 46 runs, the pressure started building once Dhoni was out. Once Dhawan was out, it all started, and then Dhoni out for a duck complicated matters, even though Virat Kohli was there, and Virat Kohli himself was guilty of playing a stroke and getting out. And then finally, the Indian innings totally fell away due to the pressure, and the Indians once again faltered, all out for 323. But some tremendous entertainment here at the Manicure Oval in Canberra, the capital of Australia, and the crowd would have definitely got their money's worth, because it always looked like India could win, and then Australia coming from behind and really stabbing India in the back with that wicket of Dhawan, Kohli, and Dhoni, and that was it. And as I said, so Australia once again won it. They won their fourth consecutive one-day international match. They've gone on to the record. It's their 18th consecutive match winning streak they are keeping at home, where they have won 18 matches, and now the 19th match should be the final match, and I'm sure Australia are eyeing a clean sweep of the series here. And but it was a wonderful match. I'll be talking about that. And other than that, on this cricket show, there'll be the Zimbabwe have finally kept the series alive in the 4-match series, when after Bangladesh won the 2 one-day internationals today, Zimbabwe were the victors against Bangladesh in Khulna. They won the match by 31 runs. I'll be talking about that. But let's look at this exciting match that happened. So as I said, it was Stephen Smith, the Australian captain, winning the toss and electing to bat first. It was a very good start. In fact, if you look at the, if one looked at the pitch and the ball is nicely coming onto the bat, we have seen that this has become a feature as far as Australian wickets are concerned in this one-day series. We have seen these wickets have been full of runs. At the Manicure Oval in Canberra was no different, with Stephen Smith, the Australian captain, winning the toss and sending his watch to bat. And what a partnership! We saw India decided to drop Barinder Shah. They brought Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but nothing made a difference, as the ball was definitely very easy to bat on this wicket. And what a partnership! David Warner coming into the side, really electrifying things, and with Aaron Finch also timing the ball superbly. Suddenly, this Australian innings were absolutely in top gear, and this opening partnership laid a foundation for a huge total as both David Warner and Finch went about their job in a very businesslike manner. And by the time in 30 overs, they had already realized 187 runs for the first wicket. And the Indian bowlers had to really toil. All the bowlers were tried, but none of the bowlers could make a mark. And then finally, a relief came in the form of the first wicket for India when it was the wicket of David Warner. Ishant Sharma castled David Warner after making 93 of 92 deliveries, 12 fours and 1 6. Aaron Finch continued as the score went on to 221 after Mitchell Marsh was promoted in the batting order today. As Australia have already won this, probably they were experimenting something. They decided to promote Mitchell Marsh and set him in the middle. And well, he definitely didn't play a convincing knock. He couldn't really force the pace, I reckon. And he was probably sent with some instructions because we know Mitchell Marsh is a good hitter of the ball, and the score was 187 for 1. So it was definitely, one knew that Mitchell Marsh was sent with some instructions to go there and have a smack at the Indian bowlers. But Mitchell Marsh, let me tell you, really struggled. I mean, he couldn't really force the pace of the game. And finally, that was happening. Aaron Finch had to take the pressure, but by the time Aaron Finch had already raced to a century, he made a run ball 107 of just 107 deliveries, 9 fours and 2 sixes. And Mitchell Marsh, as I said, was a bit disappointing, but nevertheless he contributed 33 of 42 balls with 3 fours. And after that, we saw this once Mitchell Marsh was gone at 288. There was absolute, Stephen Smith was at the other end. Stephen Smith also made a quick far knock. In fact, Stephen Smith combined with Glenn Maxwell from 288. Only 10 runs were added when Stephen Smith was gone, but not before contributing 51 of 29 balls, 4 fours and 3 sixes. And then it was the time for Glenn Maxwell to pace the Indian bowling to all parts of the ground with a very, very neat cameo of 41 of 20 deliveries, 6 fours and 1 6. Bailey was out for 10, Faulkner for naught, and that was it. 348 for 8 was the final tally for the Australians. A very good pitch to bat on. And the bowling, as I said, definitely wilted. Umesh Yadav took 3 wickets for 67, 10 overs and 1 maiden. Bhuvneshwar Kumar left a lot to be desired, 8 overs 69. He has been totally looking listless on this tour of Australia, Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Ishant Sharma also clattered for runs, 77 runs out of his 10 overs, but picked up 4 wickets. And then Gurkirat Singh, who bowls has a very amiable run up to the wicket. He bowled 3 overs in which he gave 24. Rishi Dhawan was also taken for runs, 9 overs for 53. And Ravindra Jadeja, I thought, bowled with a semblance of respectability on a day when runs were really leaking for the Australians. 10 overs, no maiden, none for 51. Now it was the turn of India to really chase the target. India definitely under pressure, but one good thing for them was that this was a perfect batting pitch to bat on. And today we saw that the Stephen Smith tossed the new ball. The first over was given to Nathan Lyon, the right arm off spinner. As you know, Nathan Lyon has already been selected for the T20 series, and Nathan Lyon was given the ball probably to test it, and well, the test proved absolutely unsuccessful, because that was what enabled the Indian openers to really go big on Nathan Lyon. They really took charge. In fact, Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan, especially Rohit Sharma, started hitting Lyon for sixes, and we saw that particular plan of Stephen Smith really backfired, because Nathan Lyon really got this Indian innings to really take off in a nice manner, chasing 348, as in 8 overs the Indian openers Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan added 65 runs. So they were basically going over the run. It was 6.96 was required per over, but India were going at a clip of 8 runs per over, which was absolutely superb. But while that was going on, Shikhar Dhawan was getting into some good form, playing some very delectable strokes. He was driving pretty well, and while that was all going on, when the score had reached 65, the Australians nipped the wicket of Rohit Sharma when Kane Richardson got the wicket of Rohit Sharma, caught by Wade for 41 of 25 balls, 2 fours and 3 sixes, as Virat Kohli came in. So once from 65 for 1, the innings received further impetus once Virat Kohli came in. Virat Kohli was also confidence personified, stroking the ball perfectly, and Shikhar Dhawan was giving him tremendous company, and suddenly Australian bowlers were wilting under the pressure of the batting of Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, as runs were cascading from the blade of Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, and the partnership, before one could realize, had added some valuable runs. They had already put India on course for a victory in the fourth one-day international, as 212 runs were added between this pair of Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli. Shikhar Dhawan went on to get to his century, so after a long time, it would have been a great relief for Shikhar Dhawan that after a pretty long time, he has gone to a century in a one-day international, and what a century that was. Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, and Virat Kohli was also doing well. He had also gone to a century, and suddenly things were really brightening up for the Indians, one thought, and probably one thought that this was the time for India to win, because if you look at the score read 277 in the 38th over. So basically they required another I think they required another 71 runs, and there were a lot of overs to go. The batting lineup that was to come included Dhoni and all the players, and look at what happened. So this was the time that India, as I said, was absolutely sailing smoothly at 277. That particular score of 277 started bringing the wickets for Australia. As first it was the turn of Shikhar Dhawan to lose the wicket to John Hastings for 126 of 113 deliveries, 14 fours and 2 sixes, and then Mahendra Singh Dhoni. This was the turning point of the game. Mahendra Singh Dhoni came in, and on his third delivery, one would have probably thought that this was the time for India to, one thought once Dhoni came, and also Virat Kohli was well set, there was nothing to really think about. They had to just go through the paces. Even if with Dhoni and Kohli just milking the bowling, and with as you know, both are aggressive runners between the wicket, they have an aggressive running between the wickets and a pretty good understanding. One probably thought they could have still won the match, but look at what happened. As I said, Dhoni himself has accepted responsibility for doing this. That was the turning point of the game, as you know. Dhoni himself has said that, and Dhoni was the culprit, I suppose, because he was caught behind by Hastings for a third ball duck. So that made it 277 for 3, and then with one more run added. Now this was also, according to me, a bit silly. Virat Kohli was trying to go over the top, and he was caught by Smith, and Kane Richardson was the man who was getting the wicket there. Virat Kohli was gone for 106 of 92 deliveries, 11 fours and 1 6, and this was once again his second consecutive century in one-day cricket. In this particular series. So that made it 278 for 4. Now the Australians knew that now they had a chance, and this was the time the Australians capitalized. Once they got Virat Kohli and Dhoni out, now they knew that India had an inexperienced batting order to come, but for India, they still had hope. But the problem was that Ajinkya Rahane today, who is normally a very neat player, unfortunately split his webbing while fielding, and he was supposed to bat only if problems were there. As you know, normally Ajinkya Rahane would have come ahead of Dhoni, as he normally did in the previous one-day internationals. But in this case, Ajinkya Rahane, one had to wait because Ajinkya Rahane had split the webbing in his hand, and only if needed. But then finally, yes, Ajinkya Rahane was definitely needed, and Ajinkya Rahane had to drop himself down the order. Gurpreet Singh came in and disappointed. He was caught by Sean Marsh, and Nathan Lyon picked him up. He was gone for 5-6 balls with 1 4. Jadeja came in, and Ajinkya Rahane came in. But as I said, Ajinkya Rahane, one can say a lot of excuses that Ajinkya Rahane could have, if he would have been fit. Yes, definitely. One thought that with the way things were set up with Shikhar Dhawan and Virat Kohli, there was no question. Ajinkya Rahane was always in good form in this one-day international series. and one was pretty sure that Ajinkya Rahane would have been an able foil for Virat Kohli, but unfortunately that was not to be. Ajinkya Rahane had to drop himself in the batting order, and also because of his split webbing on his hand, it was very difficult to probably play the strokes, and he succumbed. Scott Smith bowled Richardson for 2, and then Richardson came on to pick up 2 wickets. Now Ravindra Jadeja at the other end was watching it all go, watching it all happen in front of him. He was helpless as the inexperienced batsman Rishi Dhawan was out for 9 to the bowling of Richardson. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was out for Richardson for 2. Umesh Yadav out for 2. And one probably thought that Ravindra Jadeja, there were a lot of overs left, and one was wondering, even when the tailenders were there was no attempt on the part of Ravindra Jadeja, normally a very good all-rounder who likes to go after the bowling, and one thought that he somewhat went into his shell, and that was a bit surprising according to me, but probably the quality of the bowling one does not know. But Ravindra Jadeja, I thought it was an uncharacteristic innings from him, because at least under the circumstances, I thought Ravindra Jadeja could have really clattered a few boundaries and sixes, Ravindra Jadeja all that he could do was muster an unbeaten 24 at the end of the game of 27 balls with 1-4, and he was the hope for India. But again, the lower order couldn't really stay on with him. Ishant Sharma was out for naught, and thus came an end to this match. 323 all out, but what a match, and what a source of entertainment for the Manuka Oval here in Canberra in Australia. 323 all out, thus India losing the match by just 25 runs. Australia going on to take their 4th consecutive match in this One Day International Series, and also their 18th consecutive. They kept up the 18th consecutive their consecutive win streak at home. This was their 18th win. Let's have a look at the bowling. Nathan Lyon, who was given the ball, he was given the license to start proceedings, clattered for 76 runs with 1 wicket. Kane Richardson was the man I thought who really made a difference here in the latter stages when Ian Hastings went after the Indian batsmen who were probably put under some pressure. Kane Richardson returning figures of 10 overs, 1 made and 68 runs and 5 wickets. John Hastings bowling 10 overs where he gave away 50 runs but picked up 2 wickets. Faulkner received a bit of a bashing, 7 overs for 48. Mitchell Marsh 9.2 overs, no maiden, 2 for 55. Glenn Maxwell 1 over for 10, and Stephen Smith 2 overs, none for 16. Kane Richardson for his 5-wicket bag in this One Day International match was named man of the match. One interesting thing, dear fans and subscribers, now the 5th One Day International, which is coming up at Sydney Cricket Ground, is going to be another thing where India can only save face by winning that One Day International match. But as you see, whichever way you roll, the Australians are rolling over India every time they go on. So one has to wait and watch whether Sydney Cricket Ground is going to make a difference for the Indians. If at all that does not, then it's curtains for India in this One Day International Series. Australia would have done a clean sweep of the series, and India would have not saved face. So if at all India has to save face, it's a must win for them at Sydney. Well, other than that, one more thing that I would like to share. As we know, nowadays we have seen that we know batsmen wear helmets, the close-in cordon wears helmets. But have you heard about umpires wearing helmets? Yesterday that was the case, as one of the square leg umpires was wearing a helmet yesterday, because it's all because of the as one has seen with the international cricket growing, we have seen the power of the bat is so much, and the people are having, when they hit the ball, they already the bat has a lot of power, and the person who actually plays the stroke also hits with a lot of power. Like, I can just give some examples. One is Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Brendan McCullum of New Zealand, all those players, David Warner, Arun Finch, and that's what precisely happened yesterday. Richard Kettlebrough was actually was umpiring, and it actually ricocheted. It was a very firm shot hit by Arun Finch. It actually ricocheted on the hand of Ishant Sharma and went and hit Richard Kettlebrough. And Richard Kettlebrough, let me tell you, he had to retire hurt, and there was a third umpire who was standing. And now one thing is sure, as I said, the bat is having some tremendous power. Even the edges are going for sixes, as you know. So it definitely, I will say, I won't be surprised if the umpires start wearing helmet at the square leg region and also on the non-strikers end. I won't be surprised at all. Probably we will also have umpires also wearing helmets now, like the batsmen. Well, so that is something that I wanted to share on this cricket show. Other than that, now on a brief note, I'm going to talk about the match which happened at the Sheikh Abu Nasser Stadium in Khulna, the 4-match T20 series. Bangladesh already won the 2 matches. This was the third T20 match which was played, and Zimbabwe definitely did a good thing for themselves because they kept the series alive with a victory over the Bangladeshis by 31 runs. So Zimbabwe batted first. They put 187 for 6 on the board of 20 overs. Contributions coming in from Masakadza, 20 of 14 balls, 5 fours. Sibanda really looking into some good form, cracking 44 of 33 balls, 6 fours and 1 6. 20 from Mutumbami of 14, 1 4, 1 6. Williams 32 of 26, 2 fours, 1 6. But it was Malcolm Bowler who was the man of the match, and he was the one who pasted the Bangladeshi bowlers in four consecutive overs with a lot of 4 sixes. And he was the one who really led the impetus to the Zimbabwean innings, which stood at 187 for 6 of 20 overs. His contribution being a very quick fire 49 of just 23 deliveries with 2 fours and 4 enormous sixes being hit. Sikandar Raza was out for 7. PJ Moore was not out on 10 of 4 balls with 1 6. Kramer was not out on 0. 187 for 6 was the final tally for the Zimbabweans. Well, as far as Bangladesh were concerned, they had 4 debutants today in this T20 fixture. We had Abu Hidar, who was the left-arm bowler, but he looked impressive. 4 overs, went for 40, 2 wickets to his name, so he got his maiden wickets there. Mohammad Shahid, we have seen him against India. 3 overs, none for 32, 1 for 32. Mukhtar Ali was the other debutant who played today. 2 overs for 17. Mashrafe Murtaza went for 37. Shakib Al Hasan 4 overs, 3 for 32, was the best bowler. Either side, Mosaddek Hussain 2 overs, none for 10. Was another debutant, Mosaddek Hussain, and Mahmudullah 1 over, none for 17. As far as Bangladesh were concerned, they were given a target of 188, but today their start, in fact, Tamim Iqbal didn't play. It was Soumya Sarkar who played today. They lost Imrul Case early in the piece out for 1 ball with Chisoro, and after that it was Soumya Sarkar making 25 of 21 balls with 3 fours and 1 6. But the man who Bangladesh have been experimenting before the T20 World Cup, this guy, according to me, is showing some great consistency. Sabbir Rahman, I'm talking about, the man who comes 1 drop for Bangladesh now, and he has been showing some tremendous consistency, I thought, and what a knock he played. He made 50 of 32 deliveries with 9 fours only, but it was a cracking knock. But again, the problem for Bangladesh was the bowling from the Zimbabweans were very good, and there was some Mosaddek Hussain really showed some glimpses of some his batting talent as far as innovation is concerned. He played some very good switched shots when he made 15 of 19 deliveries with 1 4. Shakib Al Hasan, the problem for Bangladesh were 2 experienced guys. Shakib Al Hasan and Mahmudullah were dismissed for 3 and 6 respectively, and that left the rookies like Mukhtar Ali was making his debut, and at the other end was Nurul Hussain, the wicket keeper, who's an aggressive wicket keeper. When I've seen that he does a lot of chirping, and he also makes a lot of sound behind the wicket. So Mukhtar Ali and Nurul Hussain were there, but they were not able to really take Bangladesh through the finishing line, as there was too much to be done finally. And when the match ended, Bangladeshi had mustered 156 for 6 of their 20 overs. Mukhtar Ali was not out on 19 of 15 deliveries, 1 4 and 1 6. Nurul Hussain, the wicketkeeper, made an attractive 30 of just 17 deliveries with 5 fours. He was not out, 156 for 6. And the match ended with Zimbabwe registering a 31-run victory, and thus keeping this 4-match series alive 2-1. So we have something to really look out for in the fourth and final T20 match which is coming in. As far as the bowling was concerned, Chisoro, very economical bowling figures, 4 overs no made and 1 for 15. Brian Tori, 4 overs pasted for 45 runs. Muzarabani, 3 overs went for 41. Sean Williams, 3 overs cost him 27. But look at Kramer. Kramer has been, according to me, a very, very consistent bowler from the Zimbabwean side, even though Zimbabwe have been losing. But this match they won. But look at this bowling figures. 4 overs, miserly bowling figures. 4 overs no maiden, 18 runs, and he picked up 3 wickets. And in those wickets, He had some important wickets, I would say, of Shakib Al Hasan and Mahmoodullah, and according to me, that was the turning point in the game. Sikandar Raza picked up 2 wickets for 7, and Malcolm Baldor of Zimbabwe was named man of the match. So that brings an end to this exciting cricket happening show today. Hope you all loved it, dear friends subscribers. Your host